Storm Dennis triggered a terrifying landslide in the UK. This was the scene in South Wales on Sunday as black muck raced down the hillside. Now, at least one expert believes it may have been a coal slide because coal mining dominated this area where the slide happened for decades. And in a blog on the American Geophysical Union's website, geographer and earth scientist David Pelty speculates that's exactly what we're seeing. Wales has been hit hard by torrential rain from Storm Dennis. Some areas got a month's worth of rain in just 24 hours.
From the air, you get a new perspective on this landslide. The mountain collapsed on Sunday after heavy rainfall. Now it is being constantly monitored by specialist engineers, and they're using radar equipment examining how deep inside the mountain there was or is movement. And tonight we're told this was a Category D tip, meaning it posed a risk.
They're identified in a term of the risk level. That determines then how often we inspect those tips and what actions need to be taken. We're in the process now of reviewing all records across the county in terms of are there any other Category D tips that we would identify any sign of movement. But we've got engineers now reviewing all those sites, checking for any cracks in the ground, any sign of movement, because we just need to make sure this is the only site, and we're on that now.
Whoa. Oh my God, that's bad.
There were other landslides, but the Tylerstown one was the biggest last weekend. And it's been a reminder that coal hasn't gone away. Instead, it's been disguised in the hillsides of Valley's communities. So why weren't these tips moved when the pits went?
You can't really get a full sense of the scale of it looking at sort of pictures, really.
We brought together two experts, a historian and a geologist, for some perspective.
There wasn't really a formal policy that was adhered to in the tipping of coal waste. Historically, they'd all been dumped up on the mountainsides and so on, and that's something that maintained up until Aberfan.
So after Aberfan, did they focus on the big tips?
The priority was not necessarily the biggest ones, I suppose, but the ones which are the most high risk. Tips have been cleared. Tips sort of by Bargate, which was which is hundreds of tons of waste, which had moved. It was like effectively a small mountain. So it's those kind of ones which were kind of done really, and I suppose with the question of safety being our priority really.
The horse has bolted here. So it's a salutary warning to keep an eye on disused tips.
Howard is a retired engineering geologist who was employed to assess tips in South Wales after the Aberfan disaster.
A lot of people around here will be worried. They'll think, could this happen near my home with tips like this? What would you say?
Well, they're right to be concerned, because when you see an event like this, which is a real eye-opener to me, it's something you don't see very often. I've seen it 2 or 3 times in South Wales. It's always been the case, it's been a problem with the drainage. So what needs to happen with sites like this is for systematic inspections of these sites at regular intervals to make sure that the drainage in the tip, or around the tip, streams, watercourses, culverts, are operating as they should be, so there's no possibility of water building up within the tip, which is probably the cause of this sort of failure.
This county has seen floods and bridges collapse. That alone will cost millions of pounds. This landslip will cost millions more. And we don't yet know how big this problem will be.